this before I started, but I'm going to do it now. Basically setting up my mic. For the microphone. Should be working. I'm going to mute my computer. All right. Six footers. So this is my live stream to build community for my channel. Basically allow people to ask me specific questions, talk about themselves, promote themselves. Basically, I'm just trying to build community and help everyone get better by utilizing each other's knowledge bases and practice tips, etc. The plan is to utilize my putting mat mostly for 6-foot putts. And there's strategy behind that. The main thing I learned from my last couple months of playing videos in my Breaking 90 series and stuff like that is I make a lot of 3 putts from long range. So basically my lag putting was letting me down. And the way it was letting me down, instead of lagging 2 or 3 feet, that can be difficult when you're getting back into the game and learning how to get your touch and feel back again. So most of my lags were falling within 6 foot around the hole, so about a 12-foot circle around the cup. And then I was missing those putts. I was missing a lot of 6-footers. So if I focus my putting practice at home on 6-footers and in, that will tremendously help me reduce my amount of 3 putts and thus allow me to break 80 hopefully pretty quickly. So that's why I do a lot of 6-foot putts when I'm working on putting from home. And I have an alignment tool in place, and I just want to make sure my putter is square to the line and the ball is in the correct position. And when my hands return to here, my putter is still square, like so. And I'll mix it up on occasion too, because you don't want to get stuck in a rut. Just do the same thing. But a lot of putting is muscle memory. So doing this over and over and over and over again, you develop consistency with your muscle memory, and you develop the ability to stay focused and locked in when you're most nervous. So if you got a $100 putt for a match that you're playing with somebody, you're not going to be near as nervous because you've made this putt 100,000 times over the last couple years. So the goal is to build that muscle memory from 6 foot and in. And what a lot of people don't realize is your eyes are just as important to putting as any other muscle. Like your pull, your backstroke, your follow through, your eyes are just as important. So what this teaches you is you know where you want your ball to go. You want your ball to go down this line. So from address, you know you're correct because you have the line to see. But when you're at a natural course, you don't have that line. So you have to train your eyes as well as your swing and your putt and your motion on a putting mat. So what I like to do, I usually do it before I start the stream. But here's how I would start. I would have no ball. I would address at the 6 foot mark. I'd get in position and I would close my left eye and trace the line all the way to the hole. And then when my head is in position, I will retrace the line back to the ball with just my right eye. And my right eye is learning how that muscle moves to be aligned. And then I'll do it with my left eye. I'll close my right eye at address, and I'll turn my head and follow the line all the way to the hole. And then I'll keep my head still and rotate my left eye back to the ball. And I can barely see it where my nose would be. And I would do that a couple times. And then I would do both eyes open, trace my line to the hole, and then both eyes with my head still back to the ball position. And I would do that a couple times, and then I would start my strokes. And I'm basically training my eyes where my eyes should be to help reinforce that line. Sorry, my cat wants out. All right, George. Go outside, bud. All right. So train your eyes when you're with the putting mat. Only takes a few moments. Just back and forth, knowing where your ball is, knowing where your line is. So if you turn your head this way, your eyes go, and you know your club is aligned. So you just get more and more used to reinforcing what you currently know, and that is I'm actually aligned properly. And that way, if you get to the course and you think you're lined up, but you look and you notice you feel like you're aiming way left from where your target is, you know you can adjust. It just helps. Ball in the center of my stance. And that's how I set up. And that's how you want to do it. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers by the beginning of the year, so by New Year's Eve, midnight. I'm sitting at 49. So I'm right on the cusp. And I'll be doing my putting practice routine 1 to 3 times a week as a live stream. So I encourage you to like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell so you'll be notified whenever I'm live, because it's a great time to ask me questions, get to know me a little bit, give me some tips and advice, tell me how you've been doing, how you've been playing, how you're working on your game. If you're working on your game, I try to be as good as I can be, but I also want to have fun. And I also understand that I'm not going pro. But what I can do is I can set myself up to be shooting as best as I can because I know how to practice to get improvement. Back when I was 20 years old, 21 years old, I was a scratch golfer. And I know what it took to get to be a scratch golfer. And a lot of it was, first thing I did was get rid of 3 putts. And this is how I did it. I had a putting mat, and I would do 6 foot and in religiously. And I got really good at 6 foot putts and in. So if I had a par putt from 6 foot and in, I was not sweating it. I knew where I needed to aim. My body and all my nervous system were working together. And I was making really good putts. The next part of the game that I worked on to really get good was the short game, chipping and putting. But not so much chipping and putting as much as I was doing 100 yards and in with my wedges. Because once I got pretty good from 100 yards and in, where I would hit the green way more often than I would miss the green, my scores went down tremendously. And the day that I shot my 66, all I was doing was hitting the green. I hit, I think, 14 greens that day. And shot 33-33. Had lots of 68s. I'd never had a 67, but I had a 68, a couple 68s, a lot of 69s, bunch of 70s, 71s were more common. But it was at a point to where I was young and immature, and if I didn't shoot par or better, I would be angry. And I would throw clubs, I'd be cussing, I'd be getting mad. My dad told me he didn't want to play with me when I got angry. And that was the last time I threw a club. Tough love that day. But those are things you need to hear when you're a kid and your emotions are taking control because you can't control it properly. And I have not been paying attention to how many I've made in a row, but I'm not so worried about that right now. This is more just another advertisement that, hey, I do live streams. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and you'll be notified when I do go live. Maybe you can join me. And every once in a while, we'll set up to go to the smaller hole. Just to keep ourselves honest. With my, if you don't follow my channel, I've had a couple of back surgeries, including a spinal fusion in my L5-S1, which is your lowest vertebrae. And I have sciatica down my right leg. So this putting position bothers me. So I don't do it too terribly long at a time. I'll move around, stand up straight. You'll see me kind of massage the muscles a little bit just to keep things a little loose. So I deal with sciatica issues also, which makes practicing putting kind of annoying because it's not pleasant to my back and my leg. Makes my leg cramp more often, and stronger cramps when they do happen. But I'm going to be good at golf again, which means I'm going to get down to the low handicaps. And I bet it happens sooner than later. It is December 30th, I think. And I've got a goal for next year. I feel like I'm playing to a 10 right now. 18 a couple months ago, I was playing to an 18 bogey handicap, shooting 90. A little over 90. But about every once in a while, I'd break 90. So the way the handicap system works is your handicap, you should basically shoot your handicap once every, I think it's 8 rounds, once every 8 rounds. So if you're scratch, you should shoot par once every 8 rounds. Now that doesn't mean you won't, or that's your best. It's an average over a bunch of them. But if someone's sandbagging their handicap and they say they're a 20 and they go out and shoot 78, they're not a 20, basically. Another thing I'm going to do this year is reactivate my GHIN, which is the system that tracks your handicap based on your scores. And the important thing about a GHIN, at least in my opinion, is every round you play, you submit. You don't just cherry pick your rounds and submit your best rounds. And what a lot of guys do is they purposely leave out their better rounds so their handicap will be higher, because when they're playing competitively or just for, pizza money, they have a little bit more of an advantage because they're getting a couple extra shots because they're not doing it properly. And little Harriet, I think, is deciding whether or not she wants to play golf with us today. We got 3 cats. Harriet, which is the one that you see now, the bobtail cat with no tail. George, who was meowing earlier in the stream, asking to go outside. He's a long-haired cat, but he's probably the smallest cat of the 3. And Elsie, who looks a lot like Harriet, but has a tail and is a little bit more rusty colored. Looking like she wants to swat at a ball now. I kind of keep my streams, at least for now, limited to an hour. Like again, because of my sciatica issues and my back. Just more than that, I get uncomfortable. And I'm working on like some exercise routines to help with my stamina and help strengthen those muscles in my core. So that is something I'm doing for this year. And watch, this is a channel that I'm going to improve rapidly, because let me just hit a putt fat real quick. I'm going to improve rapidly because I already know how to get to be a scratch golfer. I already have the mindset and the mental game to be a scratch golfer. I know the shots I need to be playing to have the most success in my game. And now that I learned my yardages, because I lost a lot of yardage with my swing due to my surgery and just the fact that I'm 30 years older now. I was under clubbing by 1.5 to 2 clubs just about every opportunity, or every shot to the green. I was under clubbing severely. And because I was under clubbing, my body was trying to compensate and hit the ball harder. And I was just constantly hitting the ball bad. Constantly hitting the ball bad. But the last 2 rounds I played, my contact has been a lot better. And I played 3 rounds with my dad that I did not record because I was enjoying time with my dad. My dad's 70... How old are you, Dad? 74? 72? 74? And he shot a 68. 3 rounds we played, he shot a 68, 72, and a 68. And the 3 rounds I shot was an 80 with a double on 18 and 2 83s. So I know my game is right on the cusp of breaking 80s. So it's going to happen. Probably in the next 2-3 videos I make, I'll be breaking 80 for the first time in a long time. So like and subscribe for that, because it's going to happen. It's not a question of if it's going to happen. It's just when it's going to happen, because I know it will happen. And just me doing these 6-foot putts increase the odds of that happening soon, and dramatically increase the odds of that happening often. So if you truly want to get better, find what works in your game and what you need to practice to get better. I'm pretty good with my woods, keeping them in the fairway. My approach shots to the greens have been bothering me because I've been under clubbing. But now that I've figured out my yardages, that's going to be less and less of an issue unless it's a mishit. So leaving me with putting as my #1 score opportunity. And when I do miss the green, chipping. A good putt fixes a bad chip, where a good chip simply ensures you're going to have a putt you can make. So putting is more important than chipping, of course. And if you think about the shots that you're allowed in golf, par 4, you're allowed a drive and an approach shot to the green. If you can hit the green, you have 2 putts for par. So half of the game is putting. Par 3s, you're allowed a shot on the green, and you're allowed 2 putts. 2/3 of the score on par 3 should be directly resulted from your current putting. Par 5, drive, approach, layup. Drive, layup, approach. 2 putts for putting, 2 out of 5. So you take all 72 shots allowed for a standard course. 36 putts. If you hit every drive in the fairway, every green in regulation, and putted every putt to make par, you would have 36 putts. So the more putts you can shave off of your score, the better you're going to shoot. So what I'm working hard on currently is putting and chipping. My least worrisome thing to work on is my woods and my driver and stuff. But my contact with my irons is my 3rd practice point. But I do a lot more putting and chipping than I do range work. currently, because that's going to make the biggest impact, putting and chipping. Putting specifically, which is why when I do home practice, I only do putting. I got enough yard. I'm on about 1.5 acres. I've got enough lawn that I can go out and hit, 60-yard shots in the yard. And I might do that sometime, but I don't need to, so I'm not going to right now. Just focusing on putting. And again, most of it is 6 foot and in. But if you can make 30 out of 31 6-footers on a mat, you're going to do nothing but increase your odds of making 6-footers out on the course. So it's about stroke repetition, consistency, take back, follow through, and just building that awareness of your alignment and how it all ties together. Develop that consistent stroke that will be bulletproof when pressure's on. That is how you get better, my friends. And that is exactly what I'm working on. Even on a bad putt like that, still within tolerances to make a shot. Because the reality is every putt is a straight putt. Every putt you make is a straight putt. Every putt you take is a straight putt. Now the ball may turn with the undulation of the earth, but if it's going to turn, you're still aiming to something, and you have to hit what you're aiming at to make it. I think you know what I'm trying to say, even though I'm not saying it very articulately. I need to see what time it is. Keep track of my time here. I don't know when I started. 3:30 maybe? I don't know how long it's been going. Go to the little hole. Oh, just didn't hit it. All right, back to the little hole. All right, line up. Take my time. Little hole. Yeah, sort of a foul, but I'll take it. So those of you that have followed the channel a while and just haven't maybe seen me do a putting stream, and you're watching this after the fact, you'll notice I'm not using the bullseye putter anymore. I'm using a White Hot Tour number 5. When I was playing my best as a young man, I was using an Odyssey Rosie 2, I don't know how you really pronounced it. But it was a mallet putter, just like this, except it had the black face insert. And this one has the white insert. And the shape is pretty darn close if it's not the same. From what I remember, it's about the same from what I remember. But that was 25, 28 years ago. But I'm immediately better just for changing putters than I was with that bullseye. I really love the bullseye. It feels amazing when you hit the ball correctly. But what hurt me with the bullseye is it has a lot less mass. So the bullseye putter, I just wasn't good with lags with the bullseye. So I switched it up to this White Hot Tour number 5. And I've got better at putting immediately because I used it for like 5 years when I was younger. So I'm much more familiar with it. And again, if you're new to the channel, I'm going to be doing live streams for my putting practice from home 1 to 3 times a week. Probably just one time for now. But if you like and subscribe and ring that bell, you'll be notified when I do go live. And I'm also trying to get 50 subscribers by the end of the year. And I've gotten, I think, 17 this month just from the videos I've released. So I need one more between today and tomorrow. Also, if I get to 50 subscribers, I can do the stream with the YouTube app versus this third-party software. And I think it opens up the chat to anyone who's in there versus this one. I think you need to subscribe to submit a chat. But when I'm live streaming, if anyone posts any questions, I'll be answering them. It'll be about how I do something, how you do something. You can tell me something. Trying to build community for my channel. Because like I said, I will be breaking 80 really quickly now. Because I'm already on the verge of shooting 80. And 6-foot putts and in are going to get me there real quick. Got lucky there. It kind of closed my club in. According to the stream, there's a couple people watching, so if you're watching, leave me a comment. Tell me who you are, where you're from. I am Bobby, and I live in Gainesville, Florida. And today, it's the coldest it's been in quite a while. Earlier today, it was 45. I think it's sitting right around 55 today, right now. Which is why I'm wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, because I was outside taking care of the chickens a little bit ago. Back needs a little stretch here. Let me just stretch real quick. So the other day I was putting, and my daughter, my oldest daughter, who's 23, came home. The front door is right behind the camera, basically. And she walked in the door. She said, "Dad, there's an alligator under the car." So I went outside, and sure enough, it was a 6-foot alligator underneath the car. So I called my mom, because who else would you want to tell that to right away? Called my mom and I said, "Mom, there's a 6-foot alligator under my car." And she said, "Bobby, what are you going to do?" I said, "The only thing you can do. I'm just going to wait." And it took it about 40 minutes before it crawled out from under the car and went down the street. And where I live in Gainesville, our house backs against a nature preserve, 63,000 acres or something. So we've got wild animals that come to the yard all the time. But that's the first time I had a 6-foot gator in the yard. We're used to going swimming in lakes and knowing there's alligators in the lakes. And that's kind of weird. But you know what's more weird than swimming, knowing there's alligators in the lakes? Walking into your front yard at night to look for an alligator. Because everything in the yard at night looks like an alligator. Palm frond laying on the ground, alligator. Old oak branch laying on the ground, alligator. My dog running across the yard, you think it's an alligator. It was weird. It's the first time that happened to me. It was kind of odd. I knew it. I knew it when I hit it. I left that short. So like I said, I'm going to be reactivating my GHIN, which is the Golf Handicap Index, this year. And every round I shoot will be updated. And I'm imagining, I think, based off the last couple rounds that I played, a 10 is about where I'm at. But a 10 rapidly moving down. I was an 18 2 months ago. And I just know I'm going to be better quickly. So if you want to follow a channel where someone actually gets better fast, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. You know what they say, it all helps the algorithm. It all helps the algorithm. And again, I'm reinforcing my eyes, understanding the exact position I need to be looking at when I'm over a 6-foot putt. So my eyes are more adjusted. When the lines are gone, I'll be able to confidently still be able to see where I'm aiming and have that much confidence in my stroke that I'll be playing and shooting even better. You're not just working on your putting stroke, you're working on your eye memory. That's what a lot of people don't tell you when you're doing putting practice. Your eyes understanding what you're looking at and where you're aiming impacts you on the course. Very much so. I'm a firm believer in training your eyes while you putt. And it'll help with everything. How do you relate that to your golf swing? Putting practice? Well, standing here with my club square in a putter stance, I know where I'm aiming. Chipping, just moves back a little further. Driver, ball square, I know I need to be looking here to make sure I'm lined up with whatever I'm shooting at down the fairway. So training your eyes just helps you make sure you're square to your target line in every shot you take. And one of the best ways to train your eyes, I'm going to repeat it again and again and again, is on the putting mat. Because you literally have a line, the cheat code, for a 6-foot distance or however far you want to do it. You have a cheat code. And I'll show you how to do it right before I leave. Oh, what time is it? 4:03. 5 more putts and I'll wrap it up. I'll show you how to practice your alignment with a driver. Maybe not a driver because I might be out of screen, but with a different club. With the putting mat. The putting mat's key. Putting mat is huge for the channel and huge for anyone trying to get better at golf. All right, here's an example. I'll get a 7-iron. The way I line up shots is I will stand behind my ball and line my club up to the target, and I'll trace my line to where my ball is. I'll put my club head square, and I'll look about a foot in front of my ball, and that's where I square the club head to. And then I'll take my stance. And that is how I know that my body, my club, and everything that's my shoulders are all aligned to hit it down the line. So from here, I'm on plane and I'm on target. Then it's all a result of the swing. But you can do it with a putting mat. If you look 2 feet away, you're reinforcing your brain that your 2-foot target is square and you're aligned and in place. 4 foot away, whatever, 2 inches in front of you, wherever you place your aim, you can check your alignment with a putting mat. It's simple, it's effective, and it'll help you shoot better. So thanks for watching today. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you'll be notified whenever I live stream again. This is the Build Community. I encourage you to ask questions and tell me about your day. Get to know each other a little bit better. Have a great day. Aim high, shoot low, and we'll see you next time.